heard a pop. I'm gonna go look at stuff. The frame right here is not straight. Yeah, probably. It might not have bent stuff as bad as it did. So the rear of the truck is tied up to a tree back there. The front of the truck is tied up to a tree over there. And we are about to take this winch to full stall. By taking the winch to full stall, we will test the winch to its maximum potential. So it should be pulling at a full 9,500 pounds. If you haven't been following along with the series, I fabricated the winch plate that thing is sitting on, and I also fabricated the front hitch that winch is connected to. I don't think anything's gonna fail, but I am out here to validate both of these. Let's get to it. So I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want to see something break, but at the same time, it would suck to have to repair the front end of that truck if that front hitch rips off. Anyways, what I think could potentially fail, so there's 4 mounting points per side in the truck. There's a bolt inside of this hole, there's 2 bolts here, and then there's 1 at the bottom. This is how most front bumpers mount and how most front winch plates mount to these trucks. The way the bending occurs on this main tube here, this bolt will be under the most amount of load, and if this tube can't transmit enough structural rigidity to these two, it'll just be that guy that's resisting all the bending. Maybe this one will be loaded along with that a little bit from this structural member here. And also, this upper part of the tube and the lower part of the tube are in bending, and then the back part is in compression and the front part is in tension. The tension part and the compression side of this tube, they support most of the bending loads. And in the front one, there's a big hole right there because I had to get the bolt in. So if there's a point of failure, it could be right here. The tube could buckle right here, and then the rest of it will fail. Another point of failure could be this winch plate here. This winch recommends a 6mm thick winch plate to be sitting on. 6mm is about 1/4 inch. This winch plate is 1/8 inch. I went that thin for lightweight. I don't think it will be an issue because that winch plate is properly gusseted. Most winch plates are just a flat piece of steel. So that's why I went so thin with this guy. I don't think it's going to be an issue, but we're going to validate it and we're going to test. Now you may notice there's only 1 spool left on the winch drum here, and that is because the winch pulls at its hardest when it's on its last spool. If you have a big spool on your winch, essentially almost all the line on there, it's not going to pull at its maximum rating. We'll take it to the whiteboard on my desk to explain why that is. So now to show why a winch pulls its hardest on its last spool, we'll start with something we all understand, and that's torque. If I go tighten a bolt with this big guy and then try to break it loose with this little one, I'll have a ton of trouble. And that's because this big one allows me to generate a heck of a lot more torque. Now, relating that back to a winch, this big one is like there being a lot of spool left on the drum, and this little one is like it being on its last wrap. Now, I know what you're thinking, that may seem backwards because this one I just said is going to generate more torque. However, when we apply a force to the end of this wrench here, we're applying it from this side. When a winch drives, it's kind of in reverse, so it's essentially applying the torque from the extension side of this ratchet, and it has to fight against this big lever arm here. Again, this one's like there being a ton of wrap on the drum, and this one's like there being, if I had the ratchet the right way, and this one's like there being a little bit of wrap on the drum. So now you see it has a lot more leverage. The effect's essentially reversed from when we were applying it, because we're applying a torque from this side and the winch is applying a torque from this side. So yeah, that's why your winch pulls its hardest on its last spool. Also, you may see these guys right behind me. My beautiful bypasser shocks finally showed up. Stay tuned for that. All right, so I'm done blue teasing you. I want to get as far away from this thing as possible just in case anything does break. Unfortunately, I need to operate that winch controller, and the winch controller lead is only like 6 or 7 feet long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get inside of the truck and curl up like a baby and hope nothing breaks. Also, as a safety precaution, I'm going to pop the hood. The reason why I'm going to pop the hood is because if this winch line breaks and comes flying at the truck, it will hopefully smack the hood and not go through the windshield. That shouldn't happen because there is a winch blanket down there that should make the winch line fall to the ground, but it's just an extra safety precaution that I'm going to take. Without further ado, let's get to it. Oh, right, pop the hood. I got excited. All right, so ready to start this testing. The winch controller here, I'm laying down, by the way. The truck's been idling for a little bit. Let's see if we can break this thing. Well, that's showing up on video, but it's moving the truck around. It's probably just pulling the whole system straight. Oop, I heard a pop. Still pulling the truck. Ooh, you can hear it. The winch is under a ton of load. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but I can. Ooh, I heard a pop. I'm gonna go look at stuff. Alright, so went out there and checked it, everything looks alright. We're going to run it up to tension again. Go take a look at it. It's under tension right now. We'll see what happens. So I got it loaded up. It's still under tension right now, so this ain't the safest thing in the world, but hopefully you can see it right there. It's actually deflected this piece, and as I thought, that guy right there is under load. I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can see it, that little crack right there. Also, what happened too is this guy right here is actually pulled down and forward from the torque on the winch. Actually, I'm pretty sure the whole winch body, it's kind of hard to see, but the whole winch body's twisted like that. That's crazy. So I'm gonna go unload it, and we'll see if we can watch her twist back. All right, so we're done testing the winch. Gonna do a bit of a damage report here, but first off, looking at the winch, this is where the motor is, the electric motor is. When you stall an electric motor out, it pretty much just turns into a heater. This thing is almost 400 amps at 12 volts. That's I don't know, can't do that math in my head right now. A lot of watts. It's slightly warm. I didn't stall it out for that long. So damage report. The line, this is where the first wrap was pulling. The synthetic line is very compressed right here. This part was just pushed apart. There must have been another wrap here, and you can see that's totally flat right there. So the winch body did like twist over. I'll show you why in a second. But there's a little hairline crack in this guy. The tie bar is just aluminum. Hopefully we didn't damage the winch too bad. The reason why the winch body twisted over is, you could probably see it right here, is the winch plate just totally tacoed over. It's not straight. This rear gusset is twisted a little bit, and this 3/16 one that had this double gusset driving its force right into it, it tacoed that piece of 3/16 steel pretty good. So we'll have to do, I built 2 of these winch plates. I'll have to build a second one. The first one I just didn't like how it looked, and this one I kind of took some weight out of it. Maybe I took too much out. And as far as how the front hitch held up, it held up good. However, the frame right here is not straight. So these 2 studs, this first stud must have held up fine. These 2 studs, however, you can see right here, it starts to bend. So the frame piece is slightly bent. Don't know what I'm gonna do about that. I may have to either cut this part off and try to figure out how to rig back here to something to make it a little stronger. But yeah, it's not good. We actually bent the frame. The hitch held up just fine. All right, so the winch plate and front hitch are not validated. They didn't completely fail, but they definitely didn't do their job. I wouldn't trust them to do the job twice. That was full stall. Would it be different if the rear of the truck wasn't rigged off the tree and there was some give in the system? Yeah, probably. It might not have bent stuff as bad as it did, but that's why we do testing. I don't want to take this out in the middle of nowhere, be hours away from home or more, and have a failure happen. So that's why we do this. I'm Jay. You've been watching Jay Designs. Stay tuned. Not sure what I'm going to do next, but you'll know as soon as I do. Thanks for watching. So it's been a week since the video you just saw. I've had time to think about it, and I do know what I'm going to do. I don't think the winch has been damaged by that, even though it was twisted. I did a pull right after the video you just saw, and the winch seemed to pull just fine. As far as straightening the frame goes, all I did was stuck a big, like 6 foot long piece of steel in the tube and kind of bent up on the hitch, and most everything realigned. There was also a little BFH action, and it's pretty well straightened out now. So how I'm going to fix the design is I'm going to go pick up off of a couple more brackets over here and run some more brackets around the frame. The steel on the frame is fatigued right there, so it's not going to have the same strength, but those reinforcement brackets should fix it. The only way to correct the fatigued parts of the frame is to actually cut them off and weld them back on, and I really don't want to do that. As far as the tacoed winch plate that you saw, this one right here is the new one. It's a lot heavier and should be a lot stronger. I'll show you the front hitch when it's done. Stay tuned, and thank you for watching. Follow along with the build at oak_taco on Instagram. I want to wear my hat, but you can't see anything. It takes up the whole screen. Can't do that.